A year ago, I traveled to China. And as I got the help of this young gentleman with his bicycle to fight traffic, because traffic is horrendous in China, I returned to my hotel room and experienced the lowest point of Greece, in my opinion, of the recent years. I felt extremely ashamed to hear the news that 3 bank employees were dead, were killed because of rioters rioting in the center of Athens. And that was an extremely low point for me, an extremely emotional point for me. And I feel that the same is for a lot of us. A lot of my friends are considering leaving Greece. And I'm asking you right now, I want a show of hands. How many have you considered leaving Greece, leaving this country? Wow, it's overwhelming. It's overwhelming, it's true. I appreciate your honesty. But take it from somebody that is not originally Greek. My origins are from Armenia, but as my family moved to Greece 90 years ago, I feel very Greek. And although I moved to work and study in the United States, and then I moved to the former Soviet Union and exciting places like that. So I worked in 4 countries, and I traveled to 38 more countries. I can tell you that I'm back, and I'm here to stay. Because we tend to take things for granted when we're in Greece. And that's similar to a lot of countries. So I used to take the weather and the sun for granted until I experienced weather in London. And I hear because of global warming, things are getting better. But when I was there, things were miserable. And I didn't really appreciate what I had. Similarly, this is a tomato that I used to consume when I was abroad. It is round, it is fake, it is tasteless. I never appreciated my friends enough and my family enough and society enough. So I felt totally like a number when I was in New York City, for example, or in another large city. Also, the alcohol culture that I experienced in parts of Russia made me even more homesick. I am a casual drinker. I love beer sometimes, but when I experienced college in Boston, where drinking beer was the thing to do, to extremes, I suddenly started to realize that, wow, some things that we take for granted are not like that. And don't get me wrong, a lot of things were going great for me. I was lucky enough to have experienced the dot-com boom in London. We got help. We were extremely privileged to get help from one of the most prominent members of the Greek diaspora, the 7 million strong Greek diaspora. Nicholas Negroponte was our advisor and our investor. We were living the dream. But every Friday evening, as things would quiet down in the office, I felt extremely homesick. And home was not London, it was Athens. So I did return to Athens a decade ago and joined a software company. A software company with a couple of founders and a team of 10 young, hardworking Greek techies with a single dream: to make it. And common wisdom says, if you want to start an internet company, if you want to start a software company, if you want to start a high-tech company, go to Silicon Valley. Your chances are greater of making it. These people were educated abroad, but they all returned because we like the package in Greece. And Velti is a company that within 10 years has managed to be listed in 2 stock markets, to have a $600 million capitalization and 500 employees. And that's pretty successful for any standard. So in 2003, I was again lucky and privileged to have joined a venture capital fund at its infancy, at its very beginning. And we were very privileged to have invested in companies like Krokos Kozanis, the makers of the best saffron in the world. Similarly to olive oil, this product was being sold in bulk to Italian companies and Spanish companies that used to package it beautifully, sell it, and make the difference. Instead, we teamed up with a world-class company that happens to be Greek, created packaging that was award-winning, and managed to do what the others used to do before us. Not only did we save 1,300 families' jobs and well-being around Kozani, not only we helped an industry, agriculture, to create more jobs, because agriculture employs 500,000 Greeks, and it's the only industry right now within the crisis that it's adding jobs. It was also extremely beneficial for our investors. So it is a win-win. The environmental issues are closely linked with industries like agriculture and tourism that are imperative to Greece, and they're close to my heart. And watching pictures like this, thousands of tons of tires sitting in fields in Greece and other parts of Europe, idle. It's like an environmental time bomb. We saw this as an opportunity. So we invested in the state-of-the-art German technology factory that became, last year, the most effective tire recycling plant in Southeast Europe. So Tires Herco managed to recycle 1 million tires last year alone. Imagine the size. From this auditorium, all the tires that we recycled could cover the 500 kilometers to Athens. And it's a great joy and pleasure for me personally and my team to watch waste coming in and useful products coming out of the factory being exported to 31 countries. Really useful products, and that gives you great pleasure inside. Now, people say that there is a huge cost in living in Greece. The cost is career. A lot of people come and say, well, I would never be happy in Greece because my career would never be good enough. I'm telling you that we Greeks have a lot in our favor. And Greek shipping is proof of that. It is no coincidence that Greeks control 1/5 of the world's ships today in the world. And by controlling, I mean own. Why? Because they're gutsy, they're hardworking, they're cunning, they know their business inside and out, they are philotimo, and that's why they make it in the world arena. With these qualities, we can make it in any industry. So I'm going to talk to you about why I'm happy in Greece. And against all odds, I feel that the career is only a small piece of the puzzle. It's not the only reason I am happy in Greece, because things are difficult in career-wise, but for me, they worked fine. They worked well. Although we tend to complain and we tend to exaggerate the negatives, things do take time. They're a bit more difficult, but they work. So I try to research what makes Greeks happy. And I stumbled upon 2 indexes. One is the Quality of Life Index of the Economist Intelligence Unit. And Greece scores 22nd in the world. That's not that bad. I mean, of the 200 countries in the world, 22 is not that bad. A similar index is United Nations Human Development Index. Again, Greece scores 22nd. Ahead of some countries like the UK, interestingly. I wasn't aware of that. But the question is, which are the first 20 countries? And the answer is Scandinavian countries, Australia, the US, Holland, Ireland. But another interesting statistics. The suicide rates in these top 20 countries are 3 to 6 times more than those of Greece. It makes you wonder. So I want us all to have a little experiment. I want you all to close your eyes and think of the first image that comes to life, to your mind for Greece. The first good image of Greece. Please close your eyes. I want to see them closed. And now you can open them, and I want to hear some ideas. Yes, please. What's the first thing that comes to mind?
Green.
Anyone? Perfect. So, I'm no magician, but your answers, green, the sea, and light, fall into these categories. And my picture is this. And it's not just an aerial photograph that I took of Elafonisos in the south part of the Peloponnese last summer. It's much more than that. It's the awakening of our senses. So it is the tranquility of the sea and the touch and the feel of the sea when you first take your swim. It's also the sound of the crickets that remind you of this feeling, and the sand on your feet, and the fish that you consume alongside with the salad and the other goodies that we have that make our food fantastic. It's also other things like interesting conversation among friends, and it's activities like snorkeling, and it's the tranquility that you get. So it's not just a beautiful image, it's the awakening of the senses. And I couldn't find all this in a single country. So more interesting, the diversity. My favorite sport is skiing, and there's 18 ski resorts in Greece. So I can live here and be in a ski resort in 1 hour and 15 minutes. And all that, and I'm not even counting all the historical sites and all the things that others will tell you about coming to Greece. And this is my daughter. And we're shopping for tomatoes in an open-air market near our house. And these are real tomatoes, you can see them, you can feel them, you can smell them. And Jamie Oliver, the TED Prize winner of 2010 said, "I wish that all kids are educated about food." Why? To fight obesity. And in Greece, it's part of our culture. It's not only part of our culture to satisfy our appetite, but also to satisfy our need to be among friends and among family members. And family is the number one reason for me for happiness. And I read a lot of statistics and a lot of research, and it validates my argument. It's not just wealth, it's the relationships of family members. And think of two statistics. One is 2.3% of all Greeks, of the Greek workforce, have master's and PhD degrees. Why? Because we get unlimited love from our parents, which means unlimited budget to study. So when the time comes that our parents are old, another interesting statistic, there's very few retirement homes in Greece. And believe me, we try to invest in retirement homes. It's very difficult because Greeks take care of their parents when they grow older and when they're in need. And I love this. And I'm going to be sure to tell my kids to do the same. So, all that, and as a bonus, and we always complain about costs, but have you tried living abroad? So if I were to move as a single person and move to London, another city that's a megalopolis that's within Europe and shares similar infrastructure, the cost is 2.5 times more. And if I take my family to London, the cost is 2.8 times more than Greece. So when you consider leaving, and you feel that you're getting a better salary or a better package, well, you have to compare apples to apples. Now, the same thing, even a simple Greek family can enjoy what for others, it's a huge luxury. So they can enjoy a weekend abroad for the cost of a UK family just to go from their house to the airport and back. So you do not have to be a millionaire to enjoy really fun little moments that really make up our happiness in Greece. Aristotle, and I took a picture of the statue of Aristotle. I wish that was the picture in my slide, just outside in the square here. Aristotle explained what eŭδαιμονία or eudaimonia is. Eŭδαιμονία is happiness, but it's more. It is health, it is wealth, it is connecting with people, doing common good, living your life with virtue. And that's really what I feel when I'm here. And I'm privileged to be on this stage because I feel I'm going closer to my εὐδαιμονία. And this is how I try to chart my εὐδαιμονία in Greece, compared to the other countries that I lived, and I dare you to do the same. So, family. Family is super important. It gets a factor of 3 over other factors for me, and you can do the same, and you can play around with how important things are for you. So, Greece is a clear winner. And then you have to add career. And for argument's sake, for all of you that say, well, career is truly bad, it wasn't for me, but it's truly bad, it scores really bad in this chart. And then you get, the living cost, and you put in all the other factors that are the pieces of the puzzle, and suddenly you see that the chart is skewed towards Greece. For me, do it for you. And if you really count the things that matter to you, you might be surprised. Do the exercise. So, to those of you that still consider leaving, I'll tell you one thing. You'll be thinking of all the advantages and the great things that you're missing in Greece every day that you're abroad. This is my son, Artin. I took him to a reforestation, a nice and fresh Saturday morning, on a hill near our house that was burnt. I often tell Artin that we grown-ups have made mistakes, we do not know all the answers, and we're just rebuilding a mistake. It doesn't matter who made the mistake, it doesn't matter why the mistake was made, we're here to fix it. And I feel the same for this country. Artin's name means resurrection. I feel that we need to resurrect this country, and although his name implies that it's his job to do it, I feel that if I do not help jumpstart this resurrection process, Artin's generation might abandon this. So I leave you with our kids' εὐδαιμονία is in our hands now. Thank you.